Good evening. I was just about to say good night as well, because this is very, very late for us. We normally go around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, but it's a late one today. Birthday boy just below me was out partying. He's got a bit. He's got a bit of gel on tonight. Normally his hair's a bit dry, but he's shining today. He's shining. But birthday boy was out celebrating. I was playing football. Didn't really have a time to get a shower, but Chinese used to that.
Gate, man. Scruffy gate.
But yeah, welcome to everybody. It's another cracking. It's always cracking. It's always cracking. Another live transfer show with BNR. And like I said, it's a late one today, but I'm sure you all tucked in bed nicely with your headphones in, just like Gene is showing off his Balmain Paris new shirt. Bloody hell, he sat closer to the camera today. Chest out.
I'm in a different place, man. That's the only reason why.
Oh, he's in Keithley. He's back home tonight. But welcome, and we've got plenty of people in the chat already. And look who's in. Look who's in. The loyal one. Look at this, guys. Come on, one last push. He didn't say push, but it's a last push because we've been on the brink of 5K for a long, long while now. And what are we waiting for? Just give us a last push. And there's plenty of new people I can see in the comments. Smash a like if you haven't subscribed. We always get these sort of analytics from YouTube. And I'm very, very surprised because around about 60-70% people that watch us, I don't know if this is normal across the board, but, you know, people like Redman and Anfi Rap and, you know, everyone else who's on the sort of content creating vibe, just like us. And they say it's quite normal. People watching you just don't subscribe, but we want to sort of end that trend. Every single person who watches us, smash a like, smash a subscription because it'll be very, very grateful on our behalf. We'll be very grateful, sorry. And just like birthday boy, he's just gone off. But Gene, how are you doing? I'll stop waffling as usual. Avi would have interjected me by now. But it's been another day of negotiations, rejections, clubs sniffing around for the hijack. But what do you make of the whole transfer shenanigans going on lately? But first of all, how are you and how's your day been?
Yeah, day's been good. Asim, I've had a few busy days, and obviously I wasn't able to do the last couple of shows. And obviously I know Blue Chips in the comments. Obviously bottled coming on tonight because he knew he was going to get it from me. Like so, but generally speaking, good man. Can't really complain. And Asim, it's good to be back. It feels weird. It feels like ages that I've not been on this show. You know, and it's only been like 4 days.
Sorry, part-timer. He's missed the last show. He's missed. He was nearly going to get a hat trick tonight. Last two shows. I actually noted it down. I've got my register. I never let anything miss. 2 shows, Sarib. 2 shows. You're the face of BNR now, Sarib. Who the hell is he? But yeah, you're right. Gene's 100% right. But it's that sort of period now. We just want something to get over the line. But how's your birthday been, Sarib? Where did you go? Did you go out somewhere nice, or can't you share with us?
Not really, man. When you get older, you're just worried about yourself, kind of thing. You don't really like enjoy as much as you did when you were younger. Now, you know what? We're just getting closer to the end. So, but no, 22 years old. My back's hurting. My legs are hurting. The aches are coming. But
what the hell, man?
Look at this guy.
I'm looking forward to talking transfers because that's what we have.
How old are you? 22, did you say?
22.
And
man.
you say your back's hurting and your legs are hurting. Come on, sorry. But I've just come from football, yeah, and I was playing with 22, 23, 25-year-olds.
No, Asim, this is what FSG do to you, though. This is what FSG do to you. This is what they do to you, man. This is years of FSG. Forget anything else.
FSG give you a headache. They don't give you a backache.
They give me all the aches, man. I'm tired. That's why we get this thing wrapped up, and we're here to talk about that today, guys.
Okay, no problem. We'll start with Gene, Romeo Lavia. I put a little gif out on Twitter about the sort of airport general waiting for Romeo Lavia to come through the door and check in and get on that plane.
Where's the clock that he always puts on?
Yeah, we need that clock. We need that clock. It's
we need that clock,
at the moment. Man. He put it up earlier in the summer, but we're missing that clock. Maybe we see it tomorrow, but it looked, I'm not saying scared, but Liverpool fans were a bit apprehensive tonight. There's few tweets come out from Ben Jacobs, a very reliable David Ornstein, and they said that the Caicedo deal is a bit of I think Chelsea are facing a bit of a stalemate with that deal. Can they sort of turn their attentions to Romeo Lavia and hijack that deal? or do you see Romeo Lavia, who has given his word apparently to Jurgen Klopp, has had a chat with him when Jurgen Klopp was even on the beach on the phone, that Liverpool will just press ahead and get this over the line? What do you make of it?
Look, that's in Chelsea. You know, we know Chelsea is Lavi's a player that they wanted. Even I think it was last in January they placed a bid of around £50 million for him. So it's the players that interest them. But look, they've set their sights on Caicedo. I think they're playing the game. £80 million bid obviously got rejected for Chelsea. So look, they don't want to pay £100 million. So if they I think they're playing the game sort of thing. Which they're going to show that they want Lavia, but deep down, trying to play Brighton to lowball them as much as they sort of can. And plus, I think I know Avi likes to use the word groundwork. I know we used that word for other players in the past. Didn't really go down too well, but I think we've genuinely done the groundwork for Lavia, and I think he's a player that he wants to come to Liverpool. I read, I think it was Satcher's tweet today where he mentioned, his family and stuff, they're pretty down to earth, that they're more or less sold on the sort of project. And if he wants to come to Liverpool, he will come to Liverpool. And I think it's just a matter of negotiating the fee now. And I think we will get it done. It's not like the fees you're talking on the £67 million mark. It's around the 40 plus add-ons, all that sort of thing. So it's just a matter of time, I think, that the Lavia deal gets completed. But all in all, that's, from a Liverpool perspective, yes, we're slightly on edge, meaning, we know, obviously, we said our goodbyes to Hendo, and, Fabinho's very, very close sort of thing. And with Liverpool signing a young 19-year-old with two experienced players going, so we do want to get at least one over the line pretty much straight away. And I actually want that deal to happen more or less straight away, because we've got Thiago and we've got Bajicic sort of, they're not traveling to Singapore because they're doing their own sort of training, their own sort of program coming back from injury. So all in all, I can get it, but look, we just got to be slightly patient. I think the deal gets done pretty much quick, very, very quickly. And as our in-house ITK, Gibriya, and on our group says it's going to happen. Just shout out to him, by the way. Yeah, it's going to be happening sometime soon. So I'm going to go with him, and hopefully it'll get completed.
Yeah, sorry, there's general confidence amongst the chat tonight. But Gene sort of touched on the human aspects of Romeo Lavia. He comes from apparently a very sort of modest background, modest family as well, and these sort of and they've sort of sold on the project, the sports project at Liverpool, and this is very, very fundamental to Liverpool and his family as well, where there's two parties who have an agreement and they're going in there amongst the sort of the same direction. And this is very important for Liverpool, generally speaking, in football, but more so for Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, where sometimes we can have a talent and, you can come and disrupt the sort of team camaraderie in the dressing room. But this is the reason why we do our homework and groundwork. As Gene says, that if we've had a conversation, we've done the idiot test, if you like, and made sure that he's a humble, down-to-earth human being as well as a good footballer. Because when you put them two together, then you can develop someone to go to any level that you want.
No, yeah, like you said, I think that's very important. Obviously, Lavia, like you said, comes across as a very calm, modest kind of player, and he said he comes from a modest background, which is important because Liverpool over the last couple of years have not signed the biggest names of players. Most of the players that we sign turn into world-class players. So in that aspect, Lavia fits that perfectly. A player that can develop under Klopp and become world-class, because we don't very rarely Liverpool go out and buy a ready-made player. We normally make the players ready-made, and then they go on to whoever they're going to go on to. But no, with Lavia, I think Klopp likes the idea of Lavia. He's played in the Premier League for one season, 19 years old. Obviously, he's still very fresh in his career. You can develop his skill set. You can develop his his characteristics into a different player, captain material, whatever you want from Lavia. So I think Jurgen Klopp looks at that in a sense where, very, very good player, like I said, good background, and can develop him into one of the world's best defensive midfield players. But Liverpool are very rarely a club that sign players like with egos. If you look in our dressing room, we never have any disruptions from players, or players saying, "Oh, I want to play," or players falling out with a manager. And I think one time we had it with Mamadou Sakho. I think he fell out with Klopp on a pre-season tour. Within a couple games, he was gone. Within a couple weeks, he was on loan to Palace and sold. And he was one of Klopp's starting centre backs. So I think that's very important in that sense. We need to keep the dressing room very, very close together. not egos. People were saying about Salah, but I think that's died down as well. But no, yeah, I think we've done well with Lavia.
100%. Look, I think we will get this over the line. I think we've done too much work. I've been hearing, and just like everyone else, with these reliable journalists all over Twitter and social media, that we always have liked this one. I think we were going to do this deal anyway, and we'll come to the sort of the deals that we will sort of try to get over the line after Lavia, and it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on where you see the area of priority. Will we dip into the market for another sort of central midfielder, or another sort of 6/8, if you like? Thuram and Cornet have started propping up again in the transfer gossip columns, or do we turn our attention to the centre back area? And I think Tom Little is in the building as well, and he says check decore, yeah or no for you guys. We'll come to that, Tom Little, and a shout out to him, another content creator on various channels. Nice to see him in the building. But in terms of Lavia, if we get that over the line, Gene, and I'll put up our squad, and you can add. And I might have missed a few youngsters as well. If I missed someone really, really important, then please let us know in the chat. But that is generally our squad. I think McConnell is missing, and a few other youngsters as well. Conor Bradley has not gone to Singapore. There are some reports that he may be sent out on loan, which is a good sign that we've got probably our sort of eyes on another right back or centre back / right back. Where do you see this squad at the moment, Gene? Can you see that on your screen? Yeah. Okay, you're on mute, by the way. Where do you see that? If we bring in Lavia and we put him alongside Bajcetic in the 6th role, are you happy with that? Or, and let's say we've got another 2 players to buy, where are you spending the money? Are you buying 2 centre backs, or are you buying another central midfielder and another centre back? I'm being realistic. Obviously, 3 would be great, but I'm being realistic.
Two is more than enough, Asim. 2, I feel, is adequate, and the club have done what they can in terms of 5 players that have come in more or less. We've covered the positions where I feel as though we needed to cover. We need a centre back and we need a midfielder on top of obviously Lavia coming in. But somebody, I want. Look, Lavia is 19 years old. I want somebody with a bit more experience. That's a must, and a centre back from the games that I've seen so far in pre-season, and I know it's just pre-season. We have to sign a centre back. That is a must. To be fair, I probably want a centre back over the midfielder, over the second midfielder right now. And you're probably going to think, what the hell is this guy on about? But from what I've seen so far, we are an injury away from Gomez and Matip playing at centre back, and that's going to cost us. And I know people can say we're an injury away from, let's say, a Lavia getting injured. But at least whoever's going to come in, I don't think we're not going to miss as many players as we are, let's say, compared to what we're going to miss in the centre back, because Matip and Gomez, I think, from what I've seen, have just not been at the races. They're far from it. Yes, pre-season, people are just getting up to scratch, all that sort of thing. But this is form that's continued from last season, and their last season form wasn't great. We know the injury issues that we have with Kanate anyway. So I would go for a centre back personally over a second midfielder right now. But 2 is the bare minimum. That's just the way it is. I like Bajcetic. He's young. Again, with Lavia, he's still another young player, slightly different to Lavia. And I really want Lavia because I always wanted a dominant 6. And I was reading somewhere. I know he made the mistake against Liverpool where he lost the ball. But I was reading somewhere today that he's so good in terms of inviting other teams to come onto him. And he likes to drop deeper. And he likes other teams to come onto him, and then he likes to break between the lines and create a lot more space for the midfielders and the forward players. And that's something that we've lacked. I don't think we've had that in the past. And this is what we need, and this is what we lack. So he is gonna hopefully take us a level above. Yes, he's 19 years old, and yes, he will make mistakes, and we have to accept that. If we're signing just Lavia as a midfielder, we have to accept that there's going to be games where he's going to make some mistakes. But all in all, Asim, they're 2 of the positions that we have to address now. Another midfielder with Lavia and a centre back.
And what type of midfielder would you buy? Would you buy a 6? Another 6? A Chet Decore?
Look, I think he's available. You have to look who's actually available and who we're going to actually go for. I think we're going to go for. I want Chet Decore because I really like him. because I know you're not on that same sort of page. You don't want two out and out sixes. You want somebody who can sort of play the 8 and the 6 sort of role. But if Lavia is 19 years old and we've got a Decore there, that's you for 10 years practically in that sort of position, because you always need to. And I know they're just proper sixes, but I've seen Klopp mold certain players into different positions. And yeah, you're going to ask me the question: can Czech Decore? Do you think if he can play in the 8? I think with the right sort of coaching, I think he sort of can. He does have the energy to get up and down. But look, at least that is an area that it's the fundamental area of Liverpool is that 6th position, and I want 2 players in that position. We've got enough in terms of the 8s. We can play the other players. Trying to come in. We've got enough, but I just want 2 because I don't want one injury to completely hamper our midfield.
Can I just
Sorry?
can I just say something? Sad, you said you'd rather take one more centre back than another midfield player. So Lavia and one more. You rather have Lavia and another centre back instead of 2 midfield players, right?
No. Look, I would go for a centre back first.
Okay,
I want 2 more, right? Okay. I want a Lavia plus another midfielder. But for me, after Lavia, centre back is priority.
Okay. The reason why I understand what you're saying, the reason why I still think we need a centre back, don't get me wrong, but I think our priority should be lying in midfield first before centre back. The reason why I say that is because I know this was quite a while ago, but the logic to me made a lot of sense. In the 2021 season, when we had all our injuries to our centre backs, there was a point where we were playing our midfielders at centre back, Fabinho and Henderson. Yeah. And when Fabinho was in midfield, so when we had a solid, ready-made defensive midfield player, when the midfielder was strong enough, we were top of the league. It's when all our centre backs got out injured and we had to move our midfielders into the centre back position where we started to fall off drastically. To me, that suggests to me is that the midfield should be the main priority, because when we got Ozan Kabak in and Nat Phillips played, natural centre backs played at centre back, and we had our midfield firing and working very well, we started to rise up the table. To me, that suggests that after losing Fabinho and losing the midfielders already, we should be targeting the midfield, because when you have centre backs playing at centre back and a midfielder is playing in midfield, our league position rose very, very quickly, and the evidence was there, because as soon as we took the midfielders out of the team and put them at centre back, we dropped off drastically, which is why my priority still lie in midfield, because we just lost Fabinho and we just lost Jordan Henderson, 2 vital cogs of our team for over the last 5 or 6 years, and I don't want another repeat of that again.
Yeah.
Look, I get what you're saying, but one second. I get what you're saying, but my issue with that is we had to completely change the way we play. When that actually happened, if you look at the Liverpool side, we actually completely changed the way we played, because we had 2, let's say, young, very, really, really young centre backs, and we dropped deeper. And I don't want us to change the way we play. I want us to continue playing the way we play. And if that means buying, look, we can't rely on Gomez and Matip. It's just not good enough. And we know the injuries that happened to Konate, and there's no running away from that. We've seen it over the last 2 years that he's been here. He's a player that's always gets injured, let's say, for at least 6 weeks in the summer. That can completely derail your season. And I just want to, because if not now, we're gonna be going through this next summer. But the issue, and I know what the issue is going to be, is which centre backs out there can we actually buy right now? Bar Colwill, and I don't think he's available. Are there other centre backs that Liverpool really, really want, that fit the Liverpool model of a 23-year-old decent sort of footballer is going to fit and grow? I don't know. And it's the same with the midfield. You look at the midfielders, how many of them are not, let's say, a youngster let's say, forget the Kimmichs of this world, a decent sort of price, which are going to fit the Klopp sort of system. And now this Abdi guys commenting saying Locatelli. But generally speaking, there isn't that many. I don't feel that there's that many midfielders that are going to take our side to the next sort of level. And people are going to come up with the Turams and all that sort of thing. We don't want Turam. If we really wanted Turam, he would have been a Liverpool player by now.
You think so?
I think if we really wanted him, we would have had him. It's not like he's a 70, 80 million pound player. You're talking on the 50, 60 million mark. If we really wanted that lad, we would have bought him. Why haven't we bought him? Because we went for Szoboszlai. He was our number 1 choice. We went for him.
Yeah. But the thing is, after that, Gene, the Saudis came in and they went for Henderson and when they went for Fabinho, and they caught us off guard. So don't we need to
I think-
reassess our thingy? And Damien mentioned that, asked him why have you put Thiago in the 8 thingy. Look, they're not in the the positions that they'll play this season. And the other thing is we don't really know if we're going to stick to this 3-box-3 system on the ball every single time. And I think it'll probably be decided after we get our signings through the door, and then we can see, okay, what options we've got. If Trent is the only right back, can you see him playing the inverted right back every single game? If he doesn't, then who is going to play on? If Lavia and another midfielder comes in, can you see Stefan Bejic playing that inverted role? You see sort of Joe Gomez playing the conventional role? We've seen in pre-season, even Shimikas has been inverting from that side, which I don't like, and I don't think he can do. He's not an inverter, he's not very good as a fullback, never mind in midfield when we're in possession. So I think Klopp, and it'll sort of become more evident to us as fans during the season in terms of how many sort of different subtle changes we have throughout the season. But it all depends on the tools that we have on board. If we've got a lack of midfielders, then we might have to see a McAllister in a 6 role alongside Trent. We might see that. We might even see Thiago and Trent. We might even see Curtis Jones and Trent, or Lavia in a double pivot. He played it against England. I'm not saying week in, week out, but against lesser opposition, you might see it depending on if we've got injuries elsewhere. So I think we have to sort of caveat all of this. It depends on what sort of systems we play week in, week out, and if there's any variations even throughout the games. And I think you might see a bit of everything. But can we see anything, or can we read anything into Conor Bradley not going to Singapore? That probably suggests to me that Liverpool might be sort of trying to get him alone, and we're also bringing in a centre-back who can play that role as a right-sided centre-back who can cover Kanate, but can also cover, do a Joe Gomez role, if you like. I want something like that, as well as a left
You
centre-back.
You want Bavard.
Look, I'm being realistic. I'm not saying he's the greatest player out there, but if he's a 15, 20 million, he might be on a high wages. But I can see late on in the market, Liverpool, if they've got 10, 15 million spare, he's not a priority. Spare. Yeah, spare.
You never have money spare, man.
Nat Phillips might
have money, spare money.
Nat Phillips might end up at Leeds late on in the window. You never know. But I don't think that role is a priority at the moment, because they're seeing Gomez can do a job there. Gomez can do a job at right back, being a conventional one, and also a third left centre back. I have my doubts on it, because I prefer a left footer there in that position, and gives a bit more balance coming out with the ball. But you never know. But I think, Sadib, you think the area that is a priority is in midfield. We should get midfielders in and not centre backs in at the moment.
I think it's an absolute no-brainer, and I know that was again. I keep alluding to the season where we had no midfield when they were playing centre back at the time, and we drastically fell off. When we had our midfielders in midfield, we was top of the table. When you took the midfielders out of the team, we dropped to 6th, 7th in the league. That's the logic I'm going by. And I completely understand.
But that's because you lost your centre backs. This is why a centre back is key. You have to bring in a centre back.
You can allude
if
to
you
both
lose
points.
your.
Carry on.
No, Saj, go on.
No, because if you lose, this is my thing. If you lose your centre backs, what's going to happen? You're going to be back to square one again. I don't want. We've just been through so many. We had so many issues with our midfielders. I don't want to be sat here in 4 months' time, having a go at not having no centre backs because we didn't go. I don't want to be left one short. We can't be Liverpool that are left short every year. We have to be a Liverpool that goes into a season where we feel as though, you know what, we have adequate players, we have enough players and enough quality players. I'm not saying you're relying on kids here. Enough quality players. They don't have to be the 60, 70 million pound mark sort of players, but good players who can, if something happens, that we've got we've got enough there that's going to cover us. This is the biggest issue with Liverpool. We've always won every season. We're one short. We think, you know what, and I know fans are not generally not happy with, general fans are never really happy with the signings. But Liverpool fans, we actually have a right to voice some sort of anger because we've always been one short. And we've been lucky that, the quadruple season, Asim, that was one season where we hardly had injuries. And we did really, really well. Yes, but injuries happen. And our history shows that we're a club that whoever joins the Jurgen Klopp side, we have a team has a decent amount of injuries. So you have to have contingencies in place, and we're only going to have that if you have enough quality to play in a Klopp system. So look, for me, Asim, we have to bring in good numbers this season, especially with the amount of players that are going. Otherwise, believe you me, in 4 or 5 months' time, we're going to be sat here saying, we're one player short because 2 injuries have happened, and Sod's Law, Szoboszlai and McAllister have never got injured for the past 3 years. Yeah, had a couple of injuries, minor ones. Szoboszlai got injured. I know it's a minor one, but it just goes to show something. I don't know. You mentioned, I think, in our chat, saying, you know what? If something happens to like a McAllister or Szoboszlai, we're going to bloody question Klopp's training methods, and we're going to be sat here because these players never get injured. They've come to Liverpool and they're bloody getting injuries all the time. So look, I just want to go into the season where, you know what, we've done more than enough in the transfer market. Because if there was a season where we had to do enough, it's this one. Because so many of our players have left. We were saving. So I think I read today we're saving around 46 to 50 million pound in wages this month with the amount that have come off. So look, we've done good business so far. We've looked at the business around the 50 million pound mark, bar Szoboszlai. If we even stick to that sort of number, you can easily bring on another 2 easily. Inacio for 37.8 million pound release clause. If Fabinho goes,
Chin, if we wanted Inacio, just to use your Thuram analogy, if we really wanted Inacio, we know the release clause. Why do you press the button?
Because it's 37 million pound up front, Asim. Because
we can't afford 37 million pound.
Asim, we're a club that we like to play over installments, but we're receiving 40 million pound cash for Fabinho. Right? No, 1 second. We receive 40 million pound cash for Fabinho.
Where are you going to spend this 40 million pound?
When we sign Lavia, there's no release. There's no release clause. Listen, there's no release clause on Lavia, Asim, though.
There wasn't Szoboszlai.
Yeah, but that wasn't him. But yeah, Asim, you're telling me they don't have 50 million to spend. At least let's say we've got a budget of at least 120.
If we wanted Lavia, and we've always wanted Lavia, why haven't we gotten to the door?
These on installments, though.
I'm talking about money. I'm talking about money. Why have Liverpool waited 2 weeks to start negotiations officially with Lavia? Why?
Because
do you think we've blown it on Szoboszlai's deal? We've blown it on the release clause.
No, I don't. I think we look, Asim, these two, just say, and let's say, what's his name? Inacio, yeah? He's you got to pay 37 million pound up front, right? For Lavia, we don't have to pay up front. We genuinely don't have to pay up front, but we will receive 40 million pound up front. Oh yeah, is he coming on?
Look who's
or is it just Amy come on?
Look who's here. Look who's here.
Anyway, if we keep doing stuff like this, it's going to cost us in the transfer market, because if we really wanted to go get the player, we should get them in, because like Chelsea are lurking, and I think that's the only reason why we're stepping up interest for Lavia. Otherwise, I think we'd wait the whole transfer window to get the price down. As soon as the interest from Chelsea is starting to ring around again, let's get this deal done quick before Chelsea sweep in. And then if Chelsea sweep in and get the player, we're saying they're thinking, why didn't Liverpool pay the money? And we're all talking about FSG and why we're not a serious team, because we can't get the players that we want to get. Because we do have the money, and we've seen it. So we do have the money because we spent big on players before, but we just don't like to pay over the odds for players, and we've always done that. When do Liverpool ever get bumped in a transfer market? Maybe Naby Keita, that's the only one I can think about, but that's based on his injuries and performances level. Liverpool very, very rarely get mugged around in the transfer market. We never get mugged around the transfer market.
But you know what we generally do, though? Look, Evan is in the building, and he goes, because they wanted to see exactly how much money they were getting for Hendo and Fab before they started it throwing it. Look, in sort of generally speaking, that makes sense. But you look, you have to go by track record as well. Sometimes if you don't act fast enough, you lose out on the deal. I know we're favourites for Lavia, and he's given us his word apparently, and this and that. But if you faff around in the stuff in the transfer market, there is a massive demand for number 6s, the likes of Ugarte, the likes of Declan Rice, the likes of Czech Decore and Lavia. All these guys, Caicedo, to mention another, all these guys are in huge demand. And if we'd faff around, we could end up jeopardizing the deal. And because it's Chelsea, look what they did to Mudryk. And I know what Evan is saying, we need to sort of assess exactly what we got. But didn't we do this homework, 2-3 months ago? I know we got caught off guard. But we didn't get caught off guard in the centre back area. Why haven't we bought a left centre back? Why haven't we bought a right back cover?
Shanti karo, yaar.
Well, look who's here. Look who's
Shanti.
here.
Hello, can you hear me? Am I coming in okay?
Can't hear.
Mid-show.
Can't hear.
Shanti karo rakho, yaar. Shanti rakho.
Can't hear.
You can't hear me? Hello.
We can't hear you. Just go away.
Go out, come back in, Avi. Go have it out and come back in. I can't hear you. Hello. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me now? Hello.
No, can't
Well,
hear
no,
you.
Avi, just to finish off my point before you go and before we give you a big welcome, I was just gonna welcome you as a Fabrizio Romano.
I can hear you, by the way.
I mean,
I can't swear, man. I've got somebody messaged me saying I'm on the.
but my gripe, guys, is I expected Liverpool to at least sign one more, sort of quickly, especially to take to the plane on Singapore. If look at our centre backs there, guys, and go through them. Not centre backs, just general defenders. Robertson, okay, Shimakas in terms of injuries are generally fine. Van Dijk is a bit of a question mark on him coming back from injury, but he's generally fit. I give you that. Gomez question mark. Kanate question mark. Matip question mark. That's 4 out of our defenders on that list. We've got a big question mark. We've generally got a sort of a starting 11, starting centre back defense. After that, especially if you're going to play them in adaptable positions and versatile positions, expect all these rotations during in and out of possession. Then you don't need fit players. You also need adaptable players. And if they're doing both and expecting to stay fit at the same time, then expect a big crash. I'm telling you now, if we don't bring at least 2 centre backs this summer, then don't really expect anything, because we're 1 injury away. If you're playing a normal flat back 4, I wouldn't worry. But if we're sort of playing in this system, look at Guardiola. He plays a system with 4 centre backs, and he's still bringing in Guardiola. There's a reason for it, because he gives him extra solidity, but he also gives him reliability. And if you don't have reliability, and you guys been touching on, past seasons where we've had massive sort of unprecedented situations, that's what happens. And then just get ready for the car crash. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us. The Chip. I thought you were on the way to airport.
Fucking a eulogy like that, Asim, I feel like going out of the show, man. You keep going on and on and on and on and on and on. I thought just when I could interject, you're still going on and on and on.
Shall I put myself on mute now?
Two centre backs. Hey, listen, you're clutching at straws if you think we get 2. We'll be lucky if we get 1 the way things are going. Listen, Gomez and Matip cannot do a full season. If Van Dijk or Konate get injured, we definitely need a defender coming in. I mean, there's obviously talk with Colwill and Inacio. I think the club, and again, these are my thoughts, I think they were kind of hoping that they would be some kind of leeway in the Colwill deal, but it seems as though he's being used in America. I know he didn't play yesterday, but it does seem as though Chelsea are hanging on to him. So we've got to look at the next option. I know Inacio, the release clause, and Gino's saying something about the release clause. I don't know, because I was joining. But look, we've paid the Szoboszlai release clause. Whether we will pay it outright again for Inacio, I'm not too sure. But listen, there are defenders out there. There are defenders out there that are better than Matip and Gomez currently. We know that Matip and Gomez last season, they were subpar, below par, and they were injured as well. So we need to get the right players in. I think we're stockpiling right now. I mean, Conor Bradley hasn't gone to Singapore, I believe, is today's news. So I think a loan move there. Apparently, Livramento is going to Southampton. So there could be an exchange deal there where we loan him out for a year, and that smoothens the Lavia deal. But let's see what happens. Nice to see Gene here for once. Nice to see you here, boss. Salute Martin. Salute Martin.
I finally you didn't bottle it.
Yeah.
Avi, give us a Chin Hamara Bhai.
Let him stay beneath me. It's fine.
Give us a Chin Hamara Bhai hai. Give us one.
No, Chin is Humara Bhai, man. Humara Bhai, tomorrow Bhai. Same thing.
Avi, I know you've just spoken. I was just about to come to Saribo. You like your player profiles. You like your sort of players in terms of the young profiles, who are the up and coming players. And give us, Jamrock, thank you very much for the super chat, by the way. He asks, Tell me the difference in profile between Inacio, Lukeba, and Guardiola versus Kanate, Van Dijk. Kanate, I think he meant maybe Robbo in that one. Academy players, Comitio, Kwanzaa, Sepp, even Reese. So I think he's basically asking, what will Inacio and Lukeba and Guardiola provide that we do not have at the moment? You're on mute, Chin.
Guardiola. Come on, man.
Is that a question for
Have
me,
you gone?
Asim?
Yeah.
No, it's for me.
Okay, so because you're thinking, listen, Nasio and Lukeba are far more advanced in their development than Cometio, Kwanzaa, and Sepp. For starters, Sepp van der Berg has been injured, but he's gone out on loan now. Reece Williams, I think he's gone out on loan as well. Jarell Kwanzaa is still short of being a Premiership defender or getting into a Liverpool squad. And I think they'll look at a Championship loan for Jarell Kwanzaa. And who was the first one? Cometio is not going to make it at Liverpool. Like Pulido. Billy the Kid. No. He's not going to make it. So we need to look at defenders. And Nastia has had a great season, and the system that Ruben Amorim plays at Sporting Lisbon is very similar to what we're trying to do with the three. He has played in the three as well, and he's played at a left back, so he covers that. He's the kind of perfect replacement, not replacement, but the perfect sort of understudy or like for Robbo. But he has played the centre back role and plays it very well. He's still 21. Lukaba's getting a lot of traction. Even yesterday, I put a tweet out to ask for defenders out there. And a lot of people are saying Castillo Jr., who's also known as Lukeba from Lyon. But again, he's 21 years old. He will take time to climatize to the Premier League, months probably. But, there's options out there. Benjamin Pavard, who can play that role in a three or as a right back. So there are options there. What's the priority right now? Is it to get a 6 in first and then work on a defender? I mean,
We've been talking about this, Avi. We've been talking about this, but it'd be good to hear what you think about it.
And I think it's the same. I think we're looking at closing up this Lavia deal. I know Ornstein confirmed that he confirmed something along the lines that Brighton are still saying no to the new bid that's been placed on the table. Tony Bloom is bloody. He's holding his own, man. When it comes to negotiations, he will get the price that he wants. And Chelsea, they've been already paying overinflated prices through January. So I don't know why they're hanging back when it comes to Caicedo. Caicedo's £100 million player, guys. If we spent 100 million, I know it's wishful thinking, but if we paid 100 million for Caicedo, none of us would bat an eyelid because he's exactly what we need. He is he's elite. He's elite ball playing. He's an elite ball playing player. But I think it's to get Romeo Lavia over the line, and then we'll look at defender. But it's not ideal because ideally you want your players before we go out in Singapore because we've got Leicester and Bayern Munich, and then one more. So we've effectively got 3 games to go.
Sorry,
I think the fact we even have to debate this whole crisis about having to only sign one defender and one midfield player when we need 2 midfielders and 2 centre backs, I think is a crime on its own because we need more than what we're signing. If we sign one midfielder and one centre back, I still think we need another midfielder and potentially another centre back because Saj alluded to the point where, and Asim actually, they both said Gomez, Matip, and Kanate all have injury problems. Van Dijk coming back from a long-term ACL injury. We don't know where he stands in his fitness. He's getting old, he's getting slower, his level is dropping off. So injuries become prominent as you progress in your career and become a more experienced player. So I think in itself that we are talking about we have to pick between signing a midfielder and a defender. I think it's crazy alone because if we were a serious football club, we would go out and spend the money on the players that we need and challenge Man City. And this is why we need FSG out.
No. We don't need FSG out. We just need them to go and buy the right players. Look, I'm not an FSG out guy.
When did they go and buy the right players? We haven't signed a player that was right for how long?
Yeah, and have an argument about FSG in and out. To be fair to you, I'm the one that's actually, me and Avi have had this conversation. I've actually been more against the owners, if I'm honest with you. But I promised that I said this was the season where they had to go and put the foot down on the transfer market. And to be fair to them, once Avi, he actually mentioned that, you know what, if they actually go and bring in the right players on the 31st of August, then we can say what we want. But right now, we are going to give, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They got the 31st of August, as long as they bring in the right sort of players. And yes, they've sold us short, but Avi's messaged his uncle, and his uncle's told him we're going to buy the players. So I promised him I wasn't going to say anything as yet. So I'm not going to say anything to him right now. Come 31st, if they've not bought in the right players, it's not about FSG out. I'll be honest with you, sorry, but right now, everybody knows they've not done enough. in terms of transfers. In terms of what they've done to the club, fantastic, amazing owners. They've taken us from where we were right to the let's say the pinnacle of world football. So hats off to them. Yes, they've made mistakes along the way, but for a club like Liverpool, they've taken us to the top. The issue is, and I get your point that they sold us short in the last season, and they sold us short last summer. This was the summer they have to do the fix. The fix has to take this summer. And if they signed look, Soboslai, McAllister, and let's say Lavia, that's 3 that have come in. If they do manage to bring in the players, we haven't got anything we can't complain. But there's still a long way to go. There's still the transfer window to finish. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and let's see what happens before the end of the season. Sorry, before the start of the season.
Look,
when the window closes.
And just want to come in on this. If we get Romeo, if we get Lavia, if we get him over the line, it's a big player. He will be a big player. He will be the finished article in the next few years. It will be a real coup. I know we may have to spend 50 million, but so be it. Like I said on previous shows, let's forget talking about prices. Let's just get the deal done. So Bosley, McAllister, Romeo Lavia, that's more than a great start. But a defender is needed. And the defender talks that we've been linked with, and the names that have been put out there, they're all names that I would want in. Colwill is obviously the one that we want. He seems to be the creme de la creme that the club are pushing for. We need Chelsea to come to the table. And if they don't, then we'll look at second and third options. But I'm very relaxed. I'm hoping that we get Lavia over the line sooner rather than later, because if Chelsea do decide to turn their attentions away from Caicedo and come for Romeo Lavia, they'll offer him much more money and it doesn't matter if he's given us his word. We know that money talks in football. And I also think this Saudi stuff that's coming in has disrupted clubs negotiating within the English circle or the European circle. I think that's just interrupted stuff for the time being, because it could be that there were deals in place, but Saudis have come in and said, listen, we'll take him off you while you're negotiating with this team. We'll take that player off you, and we'll offer you more money than whatever that setting club is. So it's been a bit of a turmoil window, but we're doing well as we can do at the moment. But like I said, I'll be on the front foot as well on FSG by 31st of August. Make no mistake about it.
But Asim, before you go, look, I've always been one that I've been very critical of the owners in terms of what the amount they've done. But this was the summer we're crying out for a rebuild. The rebuild is taking place. You've got rid of every single midfielder that you can think of. Is taking place this summer. It's happening right now in front of our eyes. We've signed 3. If we get another midfielder, if we sign, let's say, another midfielder and another centre back after Lavia, Sadiba, are you going to be FSG out? Seriously. This is a question to you. If we sign another midfielder, you've said FSG out. Come the 31st of August, we sign. Klopp gets Lavia. Klopp signed. Okay.
Butchine, before you ask him the question,
sign a centre back. I'm not saying sign the free.
You need to be more specific as well. As Jay says, they have until the 31st of August, as you say. So what else needs to be done?
I'll tell you what needs to be done. They need to sign they need to sign Lavia, a midfielder, and 1 centre back. That I am not saying go buy Lavia, a loanee, and a centre back. That is not enough for me personally.
How much do we need to spend on that centre back?
Look, even if it's around the 40, 50, look, you can't. I'm not going to say we're going to go and spend 270 million pound players now. That's not happening. If we do it, brilliant. Colwill, I genuinely believe if Colwill was available this summer, I think we would be all over him and we would go up towards the 60 mark. I genuinely believe that, and I think you guys believe that as well. That we would be willing to do that. If we did, just say, for argument's sake, they did a Colwill at 60, 70 million and they bought another midfielder, would you say FSG out? No, you wouldn't, because they've done what they were supposed to do this summer. Yes, come 31st of August, as Jake mentioned, if they only bring in a Lavia and 1 more centre-back, I am going to be peed off, because that is not enough. You've just got rid of 5 or 6 midfielders and signed 4. That's not enough. Sorry, 3. Yeah, 3. That's not enough.
I think that's a little bit. I agree with Gene, but I disagree with the fact that if they only got Lavia in and another centre back, a very good centre back, by the way, none of these 3rd, 4th options like a Nasio. Say Colwill's out of the picture. Say we get a Nasio and Lavia. I think it'll be okay. I wouldn't be hot on the heels and saying FSG out. But they need to
What
have
you
a
will
plan.
do is you
They
will
would
give him the
need
season then.
they
You'll
would
let them play and see how they get
they would
on. That's
need
what
a
you do.
plan for January if we fall short in that midfield area. Say if Bajicic is not up to scratch or he just falls short in a big game. Romeo Lavia too. They're both 19, and it's telling that in the big games against the Arsenal, Uniteds, Man Cities, that we missed out on a dominant six, right, with a physical presence who's got a bit more experience. Then yeah, I could criticize them, but I would be okay with going into the season with a six in Lavia and an Inacio.
Not enough, Avi, man. That's not
It's
enough.
it's not enough, but I think
But
we've been
again, they've sold
blindsided.
us. Then deep down, you know
But-
they've sold us short. Then
But Gina, we've also been blindsided by Hendo and Fabinho leaving. 2 weeks
then
ago,
there is
3 weeks ago, did
two
you?
players we've received money for. Two
2
players that
weeks-
we've actually
yes.
received cash for.
I
So
agree.
their job, Avi, 1 second. If you've received cash for 2 players, right? Cash that not in installments, actual cash from these players. One is a 29-year-old who was on the decline. One is a 33-year-old. You've received, let's say top dollar for these sort of players. You have to go and spend that money then on adequate replacements. That's just the way it goes. So you can't come around to me and say one is enough and it's not. You need 2.
Would you take Lavia and Chiram and then
Of
Inacio?
course I would. 100%. You give me them 3 players right now, I'll shake your hand. I think, you know what, they've done a good job.
Would you be happy with that, Sadib?
Yeah, I think so. I think Saj alluded to earlier as well. He said he thinks Liverpool will sign 1 midfield and 1 centre back this summer. But
After Lavia.
that's what you think, right? We're going to sign 1 centre back.
After Lavia, yes.
Yeah, okay. So like I said, I think we need 2 midfielders. So Lavia being 1, and we need 1 more because we are short in that position. We lost how many midfielders this summer, regardless of how fit they are. We lost Milner, Henderson, Fabinho, Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain. I know Arthur didn't play, but that's 5 first-team midfielders gone out of the club, and we brought in 1 Lavia. That's not enough, and we need to sign 1 more, a proper 6, and another centre back because you alluded to the injuries as well. Because Gomez, Matip, Nat Phillips could be on his way out. Reece Williams is going to go on loan, and Van Dijk injuries are iffy with him now. Konate, he's not very reliable. So yes, if FSG go and get me 2 midfielders and 1 centre back, I agree with Saj. I'll shake your hand. I'll take
including
that.
Including Lavia.
Yeah, Lavia, another midfielder and 1 centre back, and I'll shake your hand. You're on mute, by the way. But
You're on mute. It's a good thing.
I was saying that's fair. That's a fair, and I can accept that.
I think we all agree that we need at least.
No,
3
Avi
players.
doesn't. He said he'll be happy with 1 midfielder and 1 centre back.
He said
No,
that
no.
centre back. That centre back needs to be a Tala, as he says. If he's a Tala, then if we spend. Well, the thing is, I fear Liverpool might. We like to wait for players. Sometimes it works out for us most occasions. But sometimes when you put your all eggs in one basket, then it can bite you in the ass as well. And will we do that for Levi Colwill? They really like him. It looks like he really is impressed with the Jurgen Klopp 2.0 project over at Liverpool. We've all seen all these Instagram videos flying about as well. But in terms of if he comes to Liverpool this summer, I don't know. You don't know. Apparently, there was this meeting that's going to take place between him and Pochettino. They can have a open conversation about his role and about his future. Whether they've had that, they probably have had. And has that injury to Fofana affected his move to Liverpool? It all remains to be seen. And I think you might not hear the end of it, because I think later on we might be sniffing around, and there's a bit of a triangle going on here, isn't it? Lavia, Caicedo, Colwill. It's a bit of a triangle.
I don't think, but I disagree that it could be late on. What about if Chelsea don't want to sell Colwill? We can't be resting on our laurels or assuming that, say, Colwill rejects Chelsea and he says to Pochettino, "I want out." There's no movement if Chelsea don't want to sell him.
We've done it
If they
before.
sell him,
We've done it before. I'm not saying it's right, but we've done it before.
we're
We've
waiting for players.
done it before. But listen, if Chelsea don't want to sell him, if Chelsea say no, we're gonna dig our heels in and keep him. Even if he's unhappy, we'll keep him. Chelsea have done that too. Chelsea have done that too in the past. We need to know from Colwill, his agents, or whatever's going on, that if he has told Chelsea he wants out, we need to start talking seriously and get on the table. We need what's his name, George Shamatke, to get to the table with Chelsea and say, listen, here's our offer. And I do genuinely believe that we're ready to pay 70 million for Louis Colwill. I really believe that. I I think Klopp believes that this guy is the heir to Van Dijk, say, for the future. I know we've got Konate as well, who's phenomenal, but I think he believes that this guy is the future of England centre backs and Liverpool centre back. So I think the money is there to do a Colwill type deal. Yes, he's 2021, but I think everyone knows how big his potential is.
Yeah, a few people are asking about Kessie. Kessie, would he be an option? Because
He'd
the
be a
big thing
stopgap.
with
I don't want stopgaps. I don't want stopgaps. He's a good
But
player.
I mean, have we got the money? We're all talking about money. We're all talking about our owners. Have we got the money for Czech Decore? Talking about Czech Decore, Crystal Palace, didn't they quote around about 60, 70 million?
If we haven't got
Do
the
we
money,
see?
if we have not got the money to do a Lavia for 45, 50, if we haven't got the money to do a Thuram for 35, 40, and a Colwell, then I don't know what the owners are doing. You're seeing big clubs spending. Arsenal, they've just dropped how much millions on Rice, Havertz, Timber, and
Avi,
they're not
Arsenal are
stopping. They're not
completely
stopping.
different. They're in a completely different position.
Why are they different?
When we
Because
were in
look,
that position,
look,
they still
they are Arsenal. Sorry, before I'll go before if you don't mind. They are Liverpool 5-6 years ago, where they had the likes of Salah, the likes of Mane, Bobby on their first contracts. So with the Saka,
Asim, we weren't spending when we were successful.
exactly.
no,
We said at the beginning of the window they had to change the tone this summer.
I
If
agree
not
with
changing
you.
the tone, they're not good enough. I'm
I
saying
ag-
this as a pro FSG support. I'm saying this. If they don't change the tone, if they don't change tact this summer, we've got to be firmly FSG out. That's
I
the first
agree.
time on this date. Name it, put the date on it, 27th of July. I'm stating, if they don't change tact, if we don't get three, and like Gene saying, like Sarab is saying, like yourself has said, then there's no point. We weren't even profiting from our success. We weren't even like building on our success when we won the Champions League in 2019. We bought Adrian, Sepp van den Berg, and Harvey Elliott. We went on to win the league. What did we do in the
I agree with
2019-2020
you.
season? We bought Thiago. That's all we did. And Jota.
Avi, you're saying the same things that we've been telling you for the last 6 months.
Yeah, I'm using it against you now. Because
No,
you're trying to give me a
That's the funniest thing, Asim. That is the funniest thing. He's just given a whole load of spiel with what we've been telling him. And he's been fighting his corner for no reason.
Jane, listen, I'm not reactionary. I've said to you guys,
No,
listen,
it's not about reactionary. It's about being real.
I've said
That's the difference.
we can't
It's
compare
about being
ourselves.
real.
We can't compare ourselves to Arsenal. Asim,
No,
we
you know
need,
what?
we
Let me
need to do
finish.
what's right for
Can I
Liverpool.
tell you
We've
what I
been
was gonna
told.
say?
We've been told the budget's there. Takeover news, investment coming in. We need to spend it then.
Can I tell you what I meant about Arsenal is, look, they've been spending money, but they were a bit lucky. Is they reached Champions League, they had that money, and so are they debt free? I don't know. But in terms of they've done all that sort of infrastructure of the Wenger years. They've done
They
that.
spent money last summer too.
Let me finish. Yes, but they've never spent 200 million in the summer, or even look. Arteta said we're even looking for more. Arsenal have a lot more players to sell. They got 22 million for Xhaka, for God's sake. Who we got 12 million for Henderson and 40 million from the Saudis.
Great
Who,
money. We've
who else
recruited
could we
well as well.
sell? Who else could we sell? We've shown
Simicast.
a proven record that we only really go big in the market if we go and sell a Suarez, or sell a Coutinho, or sell our main price asset. But the reason why they've gone big now is because their wage structure was really low. If you're going to be really successful, you have to pay your stars a lot of money. And the likes of Mane, Salah, Henderson, Fabinho, Van Dijk, every single person, this unbelievable first 11, were all on around about 200, 250 grand a week. And, considering Liverpool's highly incentivized bonus structure, they were all around about 300 grand. So now Arsenal have gone to that level now where they've rewarded the likes of Martinelli, Odegaard, and Saka, but they need success. If they don't get success, then they'll be in trouble. But in terms of spending that money, their wage structure is around 100 million less compared to Liverpool. There's 100 million there they can straight away spend in the transfer market.
Asim, and we've recouped money on wages with the players that have gone out. Yes, we recouped money through our transfer fees from Fabinho and Hendo. We weren't expecting 52 million. That's literally come out of thin air. Literally, we didn't know 3 weeks ago that the Saudis were going to buy them. So listen, we have to put that back into the club. Klopp even said at the start of this summer, he alluded to it, I'm relaxed and we're going to get business done. He was happily saying to that Peter McDowell of LFC TV a week ago, we're going to do business. And I trust us to do business. But if they don't, it comes back on the ownership. And I've said to you, I'll give them this summer. I'll give them till this summer. I even told you, Gene, let's speak on the 31st of August. We'll judge them then. We're
That's
two
why I'm
players
staying
away.
quiet,
We're
Avi.
two
That's why
players
I'm
away.
staying
We're
quiet.
2 players away from doing the correct business for this football club. Three signings away. 2 midfielders and a defender. And we don't want second, third options. We don't want loan options either. We don't want the Hoibergs like Gene suggested on Sunday. We want top quality additions.
Well, sorry, the heavy FSG out, if you want to call it that camp, they say, look, why should we trust the owners? Have they got a track record for it?
Exactly, and that's why I'd say, like, how can you sit there and say, oh, if they do this, if they've done that? They haven't done anything for 4 or 5 years. What have they done for our football club? You say they've taken us from 8th place to first, but that's because of Jurgen Klopp. They invested in 1 year. They invested properly into Klopp, and he delivered the Champions League. Alisson, Van Dijk, Keita, Fabinho. That summer when he signed all those players, we went and won the Champions League. And what did they do next summer? Like Avi said, they gave him Adrian, Harvey Elliott, and
Sepp van der Berg.
And he goes and wins the league. That shows the level of manager Klopp is. There's nothing to do with FSG. Let's put FSG to a side one sec. Because FSG back Jurgen Klopp, we wouldn't even be in this position at this moment. We wouldn't even be 5th in the league. We wouldn't be talking about, are Liverpool going to be in the top 4 next season? We'll be talking about how many trophies are Liverpool going to win next season. That's the problem with this football club, because we should have, the business we're doing now, it should have happened 3 years ago. It should have happened 2 years ago.
But 2 years ago, with all due respect, 2 years ago, we nearly did the quadruple. With all due respect, we just got beat. We were in the Champions League final. We were unlucky on the day, which that could happen. And we lost by 1 point. We nearly did the unthinkable. So you can't say what we done. What was the team done in the last 3 years? We nearly did the unthinkable only 18 months ago. Yes, 12 months ago, massive mistakes were made. We all knew midfielders should have been bought in. I agree. I'm not saying I agree with what you're saying, but we can't sit here and say, look, they've done something with the stand. 2 stands we've got. We've done something with the training ground. Still, clubs like Man United don't even have a proper stadium. They've got flipping water coming through it. They don't even. Carrington's is a shithole compared to us. When they've had to invest in. So yes, look, I know they've not done enough in terms of spending money on the players. Didn't Arsenal go through a phase where they hardly spent any money when they built a massive stadium? We went through that phase because we're not backed by billionaires, but. They got this far. Yes, we can say Klopp was the main factor in all of this. I accept that it was the main factor in all of this, but it was shrewd businesses as well. Off the pitch, we were shrewd in everything that we did. Even the wage structures, we were always shrewd. But they took us to a level that, you know what, maybe they've taken us to the height of what they can take us. I can accept that because football's changed over the last 18, especially over the last 2 years, the new owners and all that sort of thing. But I genuinely believe we owe them this summer, where I think, okay, we know you've not done enough, but you did this, but you didn't do enough in the transfer market. This is the summer to prove how good you're going to be in the transfer market, and let's see 31st of August where we're at. And I will be with you 150% if they do not do enough business. But I believe without spending, they nearly did. They won the quadruple. Last season, okay, they deserve a season where it was a complete failure. I accept that. I give them that. They've got 4 months to change it now. Let's see what happens.
Look, business.
Sorry.
Listen, last summer, quickly, sir, was an oversight, I think, from the management too. I think Klopp and Pep Linders and Kravitz really overestimated the quality of this squad and whether it could go again. I think that was an oversight, but I also believe that we had owners that were on a shoestring budget. I believe that business did not start with McAllister this summer. Business started in January with Cody Gakpo. A great replacement for Bobby. So that was job 1 done. McAllister coming in for 35 million, job 2 done. Issa Boslai, which literally like surprised us all, which was a good surprise. That was job 3, and we paid a release clause. This club doesn't pay release clauses. Ibrahima Konate is the last time we paid a release clause. Okay, now we need 3 players. If they get 3 players in, we can't have any complaints. We'll think, okay, but they need to know this may not be the norm, but they need to capitalize on this every January and the summer, because clubs around us are going to be doing business every summer. They will regurgitate, and it's the same cycle. If FSG can't do that cycle every summer, I'm not saying we want 3-4 players in, but that quality addition of 1 or 2 coming in, then they still need to look at themselves. We may get the 3 players in the summer, but long term, the longevity of this club under these owners, that begs another question altogether.
Yeah, because if FSG can't fund for us, they need to sell the club as soon as possible, because we're getting left behind. 3 years ago, we were top of the Premier League, and we're now the 5th best team in the Premier League. We've been left behind by City, Chelsea are coming, Newcastle, a new team on the block. Your Brightons are coming up, your Aston Villas are coming. All investment into the squad. And look what's happened. Look what's happened in the last 3 years. You invest into a team and it delivers success. Newcastle, you can say Saudi Arabia, whatever you say. When Newcastle invested in the team, you can't give me no excuses. Newcastle were 12th, 13th, even a relegation battle 2-3 years ago, and now they're in the Champions League. It only takes 2 seasons of investment, and you can be back to where you was before, which is why FSG are the main factor as to where we are today. You keep alluding to the point of us not winning the quadruple. The problem is we didn't win the quadruple. You say in the chat, we saw the problems in the team at the start of that season. I know we went and won the quadruple, but you made a point as well. We were injury-free that season. Most of our players stayed fit. We had no injuries. We still knew at the start of the season those players needed to be replaced because there's a potential for those players to get injured. And what happened the next season? The players got injured and we finished 5th in the league, which is why we're in this position now, which we shouldn't have been, because if we were not in this position, if we signed the players that we were supposed to sign 2 years ago, we would not be talking about Liverpool being 5th in the league. We would be talking about Liverpool going challenge for the title, which is why FSG needs to sell this club as soon as possible, because they are taking this club backwards. You think they're taking us forwards? We were 1st and we've dropped to 5th in 3 years. That's an absolute disgrace for me.
I think
Okay,
one thing that
Okay.
he's just gone.
You go. No, I'm
One thing he
you are-
mentioned was a great point, Asari, and you hit the nail on the head. And we love all that. We love that passion. One thing that you said was so key was the quadruple attempt season was we hardly had any injuries that season, and I think Konate was in and out at the beginning of the season, and that momentum took us through. And we always feel with this Liverpool team, with it being such a condensed squad, 1 or 2 big injuries, we kind of have it's a fall from grace. Like challenging for City, we're fighting for 4th. We did it the season after winning the title. That's what we don't want. That's why we're looking for 2 more midfielders, because we want depth. That's the biggest word in this Liverpool team, and we don't get it enough. Klopp didn't even get it enough at Dortmund. Whether it's him or whether it's the owners, he wants a compact squad. We know that he likes to work around a 15, 16. He needs to also look that I need a squad of 24 quality players that can come in when Van Dijk gets injured, say for 2-3 months. We've got adequate replacements for him.
You're the one that came on here, said to me that with the squad that we've got, we're gonna go and win the title next year. This is what you came on here a month ago. You and Asim I was the one that was saying we haven't got enough. You guys were here giving me the big talk saying we're gonna go and win the title. I was the one that's saying we're not because we haven't got enough.
No,
we didn't say
that. We never said.
We never said
We never said Szoboszlai and McAllister are enough.
You said you were going to win the title next season.
Deal with my dirty
Top 4 challenge. We didn't say title.
You were saying we're going to challenge for the title. You were saying we're going to be 5. And I said to you, when I say a challenge, remember that. See, now you're going back on your both going back on your words. You said we're going to challenge for a title. I said to you, are you going to challenge for a title? Yes or no? You said yes. We're going to challenge for a title. I said, okay, what sort of points? If we challenge for a title, 5 points fair. You said we are.
No,
now you're saying to me we haven't got
Arsenal challenged for the title this year.
Yeah, they did. Are we going to put the same challenge next season? Say no.
Now, right now.
Yeah.
No chance. No chance.
Look.
Asim, does this squad challenge for the title? It's not a yes or no. It's not a hard question. As it is currently.
As it is currently.
Yeah.
No.
We won't even get a top 4 with the team we have now.
I think we can get top 4.
No. If
we were rubbish
now, we will not get in the top 4 because I know we will have injuries to our players and we left short again. And we will drop even further because Aston Villa have just improved their squad a lot and they just finished 7th place. Newcastle have just signed Tonali. They're already leaving us behind. We're going to get further. Man United just signed Onana and they've changed their whole play style with a ball-playing goalkeeper. We're going to get left behind and behind and behind. Next thing you know, we're going to be 8th in the table again. Not saying that will happen, but
I'm not worried about United. I'm not worried about United at all.
I think the conversation.
The conversation deserves to be had because they brought Mason Mount, a player that we courted. Onana is a ball-playing keeper, but I actually think he's absolutely shite. Sorry, as a shot stopper. I think we get top 4 comfortably, as we are, Gene. With a 6 and a defender, we definitely challenge. We may fall short if we don't get 2 midfielders in.
Yeah, look, we have to remember how bad
is that okay
we
for
were.
you, sir? Sir, is that okay for you?
We have to remember
you,
how
sir.
bad we were. We have to remember how bad we were last season, and we still nearly got 4th. Up until the last 4 or 5 weeks, we were still in the mix for top 4. Chelsea are a massive, project going on. God knows how long Pochettino's going to stay there. Ten Hag, I think United, they've been playing this 4-2-3-1, I think the sort of season that United fans have been saying Casemiro had last season, I think is overrated. He was decent. Don't get me wrong. He brought a bit of winning mentality into their squad. But to say he was outstanding and this and that, he was knackered by the end of the week, by the end of the year. And I'm telling you, this year, if they're expected to play a single pivot, I think he doesn't have the legs for that anymore. I just don't think so. Especially on a big pitch, I don't think Casemiro has the legs to play a single pivot anymore. Especially if you're going to play Mount.
I put them comments up, by the way. I put them up, so I'll let you off. It's not you. I did it.
Especially if
he's got some issues with me, but I've actually read his comments the other day as well. He had some issues with me. But next show, Amjad Abdul Rahman, I invite you to the show, bro. Asim, do a phone in. Me and him need a chat.
Wait, so Asim, you think if we leave the squad how it is, we don't go and send another 6, we will still get in the top 4 comfortably?
If we get Lavia.
No, I said as it is. I said as we are. Asim.
Yeah, as we are now.
No. We've just sold Fabinho and Henderson.
I know.
No, as it is, no, we don't get it. We don't get
it. Asim confuses me. Let alone himself. He confuses the hell out of me.
No. We can't expect going into the season. Sorry, but no. Look, I did not say that we get top 4 without Lavia.
Okay.
We can't sell Fabinho and Henderson and Nabi and all these bodies and not even bring one replacement for them. We can't expect to kid Stefan Bajic, who played about 15, 16, 20 games max last season and broke down. We can't go into the season without a DM. No chance.
So there's no belief in Tyler Morton for Asim.
You know my thoughts. Some people called him Busquets. People called him Busquets. They don't know F all about football. I'm sorry for my French today. They don't know anything. If you're calling him Busquets, then you've not even seen football. You just go into other football channels and you big Twitter accounts and start talking and start rewording what they say. That's what happens. But anyway, before I start spitting a few more facts, let's go to Fabinho and Henderson talk. We've given Henderson about 3 tributes. We're going to leave that out today. No more tributes. But Fabinho, guys, it looks like he's on the verge of sort of going and sealing his move to Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia. But look, from a personal point of view, you guys know, you guys all follow me on Twitter and many people in the chat. I've been adamant that the Fabinho deal and the Henderson deal will be completed from day one. When there were reports about this slightly in jeopardy.
You in direct contact with MBS, weren't you, I think?
No, I was in direct contact with you. But no, joking aside, I always said once these guys sort of really put their efforts into signing someone and they get their go ahead, this Mbappe deal, the absolute crazy numbers, but there's still a sort of belief that he won't go because he won't give. Everything is agreed. But if they don't go and get the go ahead from Mbappe, then it's no chance it's going to break down, obviously. But in terms of Fabinho and Henderson, look, I was told, I'm not pretending to be ITK, but we like to share any information with our viewers or on Twitter. And I'm not saying I get information all the time, but we were told all along. And you can go and date and check all my tweets for the last 3-4 weeks, and it'll say it'll get done. It'll get done because the culture, the dynamics in Saudi Arabia are that these, kings and princes literally come and wake up on a different day and they want to do something different. Believe it or not, only 6 to 12 months ago, that this league was on the verge of being privatized. They were going to bring all the institutions. But these guys, just to carry on, these guys were on the verge of privatizing the Saudi Pro League, but they just totally decided against it. And they said, you know what? We're going to bring the best players in the world and we're going to go crazy. And one thing that they've got that goes from, they've got the youth and they've got the actually energy and the hunger for football. They fill out stadiums. And this is the one thing that these agents and these players have been really, really impressed. Their hospitality, we don't see what they're getting over there. Trust me, the Western media are not reporting it. These players are very, very happy, whether they're staying in, just on the border. What's the country called? Where Stevie G is and all these are staying.
Bahrain, is it? Bahrain? Is it
Bahrain, isn't it?
No, it's something. It's gone. My thingy. But in terms of these players going, and Fabinho, I've always been adamant that this, because it was never a question of Fabinho, not wanting to go. We heard rumors about dogs and everything else. It was all about Liverpool were calling these guys and there's financial sort of institutions that are covering this deal and doing all the due diligence for them, all the legal work. Liverpool were calling him and saying that these guys have actually agreed everything with Fabinho, but have they actually got the money? There was a pure fear, and this is probably the reason why. And I know I played devil's advocate a lot with the Lavia deal earlier, but this is probably the reason why we were actually holding everything. They were on the verge, and Liverpool gave a story to David Ornstein, I believe, that was putting pressure on the Saudis. Again, what's been reported in the Western media in terms of Al Nassr and a few other clubs not being able to sign players, that's 100% correct. And the sanctions are there. But what we don't know is nearly every single club is in that pickle where they're actually running around in court cases and ringing FIFA, actually trying to lift these sanctions. And that's the only reason why these Saudi deals have been delayed. And I think I tweeted about 3 weeks ago, there will be a last minute the Saudi government sign off. And that's what you've seen, a last minute Saudi government sign off. And I believe, and it's been sort of true as well as it's played out, that these deals were never in question, despite what anyone said.
Do you want to carry on giving us a full lowdown on Saudi Arabia, Asim? You might as well carry on.
He's like Victor Modru. I'll start with just Fabinho. I've got to go, lads, literally in like 4 minutes.
We're going to wrap up as well now. We're going to wrap
Fabinho, up. When we were first not even linked with him, I thought that sort of summer of 2018, he was on the verge of Manchester United, and you'd see these YouTube videos of him at Monaco and everyone would say, "Welcome to Manchester United." It looked a stick-on months prior to the season ending. But after Kiev, he was the one signing that sort of calmed my nerves going into the 2018-19 season. We desperately needed a recognized DM in that final against Kiev. Henderson was a bit short. Lallana, I know, came on for Salah. Milner, Gini, they tried, but they couldn't get it over the line. Fabinho in that 2018-19 season, he was sensational from the Champions League game semi-final against Barcelona, from being bedded in October. There was no question about his quality. It was all about patience with Jurgen Klopp when he first brought him in. I know that first game, he got a first start against Chelsea away in the Chelsea at home, the League Cup game where Hazard scored a great goal. He looked a bit of out fitness. He didn't look sharp, but boy, he turned it around. Sometimes it's just the way we just bring these players on, similar to Ox as well. We always had a little bit of he needed a bit of bedding in. And Fabinho never looked back after that. Won the Champions League, pivotal in our rise. The championship winning team in 2020. What a season he had! The goal against Manchester City at home. When he's pointing to the time, the clock. He's been a great servant for me. Nothing but great words. Just like with Hendo, he was a leader as well, even though he wasn't captain, and Asim's gone as well. He wasn't captain, but he led in that position. He led at midfield. He was brilliant. Everything that we could have asked for and more. 40 million, it was a bloody snip at that time. Gene?
Yeah, look, Asim, everything that you've said, Avi, is just, I called him a general, Avi, because he was that good of a footballer. What he did to the actual team. You talk about leadership skills. He had everything. He was a captain of Monaco before he come. So what can you say about him, Avi? Every single, bar last season, he was one of the best players that we've had. Probably the best six that's played in that in the Liverpool in that position for a very, very long time. That includes the likes of Mascherano, because Fabinho was sensational, especially the system that we played. The amount of times he won the ball high up, he was just an unbelievable footballer. And that Barcelona game is just one that we will never ever forget, because the clinic that he put up on that game, we will remember that game forever. That'll be the Fabinho show. I know Origi and Trent and these guys will get the plaudits, but Fabinho in that game was man of the match. He was unbelievable. So what a player that came and won us the lot. And just, let's say, bar last season, which I believe he didn't. Yeah, I know he's played a lot of games, and he didn't have the help, and it didn't help. But 40 million pounds, he leaves us with 40 million pounds as well. So he leaves us. People can say is he a legend? Not for me. He's a Liverpool legend. Any player that won us the title is a Liverpool legend, because we waited 30 years for these players to deliver that title, and he was instrumental in that team that brought us the title. So fair play to him, and I wish him all the best, mate. If he's gone at the age of 29. Well, did I want him to stay? Yes, I wanted him to stay, because I thought he could still give us a lot more. But fair play to him, and go and enjoy your life, mate. And I wish him all the best.
Yeah, but I just want to, because Jono says, stop asking the players are happy to go there for money. I didn't deny that the players are not going for money. If someone comes and offers you triple or quadruple your wages, who's going to say no? Generally speaking, nobody. And can you blame them for saying no? No. So like Gene says, go and, whether it's a retirement or whatever you want to call it, enjoy your last payday. So be it. These footballers get a lot of stick when they're not being, when they're getting chucked out. They want to stay at the club and this and that. It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? When they're 29, 30 years old, the club wants to get rid because there's no sort of resale value on them. But the players, it's all a game. Every single player, generally speaking, is thinking about themselves and their family. It's a 12, 15-year career, and it's all about, making your hair and, driving away into the sunshine. And like, if he's doing that, then so be it. He deserves it. He's given his excellent service over his years. And yeah, maybe he's sort of not the Fabinho of old, but he's still a brilliant player. And if he's earning 500-600 grand a week, then so be it. Let him. He deserves every single penny.
And don't forget as well, in the 2021 season, he played at centre back for majority of the time. So, he wasn't even his natural role. So, he was there for the team, soldiered on, battled, never complained, and he got his just dues in it. He got his accolades as well. So now it's another sort of obrigado to another Brazilian, and definitely deserves a farewell tribute video too. The one that we did for Henderson today, world class, absolutely amazing. Saw Trent choking up on that. Flacco deserves one too.
Did you cry, Avi? Was there a tear in your eye?
When Trent was speaking, there was a little bit of a tear. There's no shame on that. Look, we've grown with Jordan Henderson, literally for 11, 12 years. And, of course, it's always upsetting when a player who you've seen, grow as well as a person who's come through adversity, failures, and gets success. It's always a great Cinderella man story. But Flacco deserves a tribute to it. And I'm sure they're probably planning one too.
He'll definitely get one.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, guys, I think that's it. Is that the wrap? That's everything done? Avi? You normally want to say the last word.
No, my computer's playing up, man. You might have to do the bike.
When are you flying out?
I'm going tonight.
Wow. If anyone doesn't know, Avi's flying out for the big fight.
It's only an hour flight. It's not too bad. It's the only time I get to fly first class because it's cheap as chips. So it's fine.
So enjoy it, man. Enjoy it.
Was there a super chat? Guys? Yes, it's Ash. Ash. Bloody hell, we were going to miss another super chat from Ash. Thank you very much, Fatigue. This is why I always have my eyes on the super chats and comments. Ash says 2 weeks until Chelsea game and we're still 3 players short. Not good enough. This was the summer not to F around, haggling over add-ons, payment structures. Just pay the fees for Klopp once. Boys, this is what we've been saying. This is the summer of rebuild. This is the summer of change. This is the summer of the legacy summer. How many summers are we supposed to have that? The legacy summer. If this doesn't happen, but we have to judge the current situation as it is. And as things stands, yes, we're on the sort of brink, if you like, of bringing Romeo Lavia into the club. But there's some serious business. And there's a massive 3 weeks for Liverpool. And if we don't get it right, then we could be really left behind, in the season, as Sadid said earlier. And there's been another super chat from...
Bring him up. That's for me, Asim. That's for me, man. He's give that just for me.
You just sent £20 for no reason. Cheers,
oh, thank you very much. If you want to put a comment, Abdurrahman, then please do. If you want to send a bit more abuse to Gene, then go for it.
Can I just quickly allude to Ash's super chat?
Yeah, go for it. If you want to speak on it.
I think obviously but even before the summer window started, I think FSG already had the fans against them because obviously Jude Bellingham was the main target. Jude Bellingham, he's going to be that revolutionary signing for us. Jude Bellingham's going to revolutionize Liverpool. I think it was around when we played Leeds United. The reports that are coming out that Liverpool have pulled out the deal to sign Jude Bellingham because of the pricing, and our fans went absolutely nuts because we spent 2 years waiting for Jude Bellingham, so to speak, and then when the time came to put the money on the table, we turned it around. So it was a big summer in that sense as well because the fans were already kind of just like on the other side of the gate to FSG because they pulled out of a player that we were looking for 2-3 years. And I think they've done well so far. Obviously, they've invested their Jude Bellingham money, so to speak, well in McAllister, Soboslai, etc. So, but I think they need to do more. In 2 weeks, 2 weeks until the Chelsea game. The Premier League season starts in 2 weeks, and we still don't have a defensive midfielder in. And let's hopefully we get that done.
Yeah. Chin, is this Abdurrahman? Is Amjad from Lincoln, maybe? I think.
I don't know who it is.
Our long
Nothing
lost.
but he goes, he's give me 20 quid. I says, I'll give it to the mosque tomorrow. in his name, guy. If it is him, then it's all right. Then I don't need to worry about it.
Brilliant. So thank you very much, guys. Avi, have a brilliant weekend. I got your prediction last time. You think Crawford will win, yeah?
Oh, Errol Spence.
Oh, Errol Spence. But Crawford's a favourite, isn't he?
It was.
Crawford's a slight
I thought it was.
Crawford's a slight favourite. Can we end the show and you two can talk about Waz and Wakreem and Akrams and Yunuses and Wakars of the show, please? Yeah?
Brilliant. Thank you very much, gents. It's been an absolute brilliant. It was supposed to be a transfer show. We ended up being a FSG, as it normally is when you start talking about transfers. The owners and Avi's uncle comes up with the conversation. But it's been a brilliant another 1 hour 20 tonight. And there's still under 300 people here. If you haven't smashed a like and you haven't subscribed to the channel, then please do so. If you haven't, then we're only asking. But there's so much content coming your way. We might do a show depending on how things break. But until then, thank you very much and have a good night. Take care.
Take care, guys.